and welcome back to the Lucky 13 podcast, where we talk about all things people and profit in business. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Lantz.
I'm the other one, Josh Hauser. Good to see everybody.
And as we said on the last episode, we, in the Jefferson style, moved up to the east side. We're at our new broadcast center here inside of Launch Fishers.
Digging it. Got myself a coffee this morning at Rise. All good stuff.
Yep.
Give him a little shout out. Love it.
And started bright and early here at 8 o'clock this morning. So I appreciate, especially shout out to Unger, who lives up there in Fort Wayne. So you were on I-69 pretty early.
He came straight down. Yeah. Yeah, he's probably speeding. He got himself a new car. He got himself a van.
A van?
Yeah, he's going to live down by the river.
Like what kind of van?
A mini.
A minivan?
Yeah, he's a big minivan because he can fold down the seats and put all sorts of stuff in the back.
Oh, yeah.
That's Chris Unger in its nutshell.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you had some, a couple of weeks ago, you went down to Gatlinburg and
went to the Berg. You went to the Berg as well.
Yeah.
Had a daughter get married.
Yeah, oldest daughter got married.
Yep.
Yeah. What is her name again?
Brenna.
Brenna. That's right. That's
double
Brenna.
N. Yep. And I'm going to share this. You know how we talk about the Mountain Valley flower conversation, how you got to, you're on the mountain and nothing grows on the mountain, but everybody sees you and you got to go into the valley to grow. And I've been preaching this and teaching this with kids for a while. And my kids really adopted it. And they really believe in this concept of if you don't know your north when you go into the valley, you're going to wander around and end up in somebody else's mountain. That makes sense? So this little turd, I almost said the S word, before we go down the aisle, this is what she hands me. She hands me a compass, and it's pointed north, of course. And it says, in her handwriting, carved in here, Dad, we of all the walks we've taken together, this by far is my favorite. Thank you for everything. I love you, Boo. Melted like a snowman in July. Just fell apart. All in her hand. We call her Boo, by the way, because my wife went to labor trick-or-treating. So Brenna was born on October 29th. But right before we had that. But what I loved about it is that all the things that I teach in business and all the things I teach in class, and that I hope that they just absorbed, the fact that she thought of a compass as what she wanted to hand me before she went down the aisle just broke me like no other. So there you go.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Literally, for the listeners, this is the first time I'm hearing this story.
I carry it with me in all meetings. I pull it out for the meeting. One of my favorite things to do in a meeting is tell everybody close their eyes and point north. And first time, they all point different directions, and second time, they point it. And so I tell this story when I do that. I broke down a couple times telling that story. That's the first time I broke down, I think, not telling that story.
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. No, I'm tough now.
Wow. I mean, we're called Lucky 13 because you have 8 kids, I have 5, and 8 plus 5 equals 13.
Good math. Good job. Didn't have to take your shoes off this time.
Yeah. And so it just, to your point, you and I have been in the world of educating business people and in a variety of different roles and stuff. And you're right. You just kind of hope that, your kid, that it rubs off on your kids,
Yeah, shameless EOS plug. But one of the very first day, we spend time on if you're going to adopt this and you want to be a great leadership team, you have to be good parents. And so the fact that EOS and this is what we call the EOS life, where they merge. It was good for me to know that I'm not just teaching the room and coming home as a false prophet and imposter syndrome. I'm doing it both places, and I got a daughter who's actually right now getting her PhD in positive intelligence and 6 working geniuses. She wants to go down that whole path of understanding the inner workings. And so it was nice to see that carry over.
She's coming for your job.
I think she's going to get it.
That's awesome.
I got to keep her out of Indiana, keep her in Michigan.
It would be kind of interesting to do, and this is one of those, I get to say these things to you because my leadership team gets a little worn out by my visionary ideas and stuff sometimes. That's no criticism on them by any means.
That's not what I took from that, but
I can show up.
You can try to spin it. Go ahead.
I show up every day with kind of new ideas and I forget about the fact that we're executing on all the other ideas that we've come up with.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I can be a distraction for them, right?
Yeah.
So Chris Mills, who's our president and our integrator, she is just fantastic at keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Strainer.
Yeah, exactly. But one of the things that would be really cool is I know because you've done it with my son, would be to run a session and allow our business contacts to bring their kids.
Oh, I'd love it.
And
That'd
help
be
them
amazing.
do like a personal VTO.
Oh, come on.
How cool would that be?
I've done it with Chris's daughter. I've done it with my kids. When people see what their personal VTO is, all of a sudden they stop. What is it? They stop working for what they think it is, and they start working what it could be. And watching people go through that, it's to be honest, we always think it's for them. I'll be selfish. I get more out of it than they do.
Yeah.
Just watching people light up about the pen in my hand is writing my destiny right now.
Yeah.
Future will be kind because they just wrote it.
Yeah, and I think that this is going to sound maybe like a little bit of an arrogant thing to say, but I think that kids your kids, my kids, Unger's kids, kids of people that get this benefit from the fact that we're their parents, and that's where I don't want that to sound weird, but because they get that.
What
and there's a whole lot of kids that don't.
What we're exposed to and have to be around, not have to be, get to be around. If you're taking it home, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and so it carries over.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, speaking of writing things down, I'm gonna give you a shout out. You told me, I don't know if you remember this. You wrote down that you wanted to be on a couple boards. You finally just wrote it down, and you said to do it within 1 year. And how long did it take you to get it done?
Well, yeah, it was an intention that I wrote down in December of 2024. No, December of 2023.
Got it.
And just said I want to be on I want to find a couple of boards to be on this year, business boards, and literally by May. And I didn't do one thing to do it.
And that's the point of the personal VTO. Write it down, and then you can't help but start to see it. Yeah. So kudos to you on that. Two
amazing companies. One is a Wildman Business Group out of Warsaw, Indiana.
I've heard good things about them.
They're a commercial laundry company, and they are just amazing. I've never been around a company that walks their talk.
I love it.
Walks their culture the way that they do. It's unbelievable. They make hard decisions.
You don't need to see their core value words. You see it every day.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other one that you're starting to get to know a little bit is AccuLevel.
Oh, so what an amazing company.
Fast growth company.
Holy smokes.
What's that
They're
town?
Rossville, Indiana.
That's right.
There's an Arnie's halfway between Monticello and here that I always stop at in Rossville, Indiana.
Yeah.
No, Andy and his team, amazing people. I'm really getting to know them and excited to spend some more time.
Yeah. So I'm heading up there for a board meeting tomorrow. So it'll be fun stuff. So last episode we were talking about how business owners need to be thinking about succession and need to be thinking about the talent pipelines that they're building inside their organization. And there's some people that might be going, I don't need to worry about that. And I presented a little bit of a business case as to why you do.
Correct.
Because there's a lot of research out there that shows that your business can be worth up to 2 times the multiple of your EBITDA. More if you have a fully engaged, independent leadership team that can run the business without the owner.
Yeah, other than just thinking about the daily, it's peaceful. You can actually tie monetary value to what you're going to put into it.
And some people might go, well, my business is not for sale. I'm not going to sell it. I've got other plans for it or whatever. Well, that's great, but how cool would it be to just go to take your spouse to Italy for a month and not have to worry about your business?
Yeah,
that's kind of cool too.
Yeah,
and so. You can't do that if you don't have an independent leadership team.
You haven't replicated and duplicated and put a team in place to be able to.
Yeah, so I started talking about this process, this talent planning process that we work with our clients on to make sure that you've got all the right people in the right seats at the right time to really grow your business and to make it more valuable. And so the first one was aligning future org charts with vision. And so what we mean by that is, in the EOS model,
accountability chart,
you've got an accountability chart, and you also are walking people through what do you want to do 10 years from now, 7 years from now, 3 years, whatever the time increments are that they choose.
They're BHAG.
And you need to have an org chart for each one of those steps. And the org chart isn't created the year you're going into it. The org chart is created now.
Yeah.
Because you've got to know what the organization is going to look like at those stages.
Correct.
The minute you ink it, it's going to 100% and 100% chance that it's not going to be exactly that way.
It's going to change.
But at least you have some intention.
Yeah, and at that point, you're no longer changing because people they despise change. When you write it down, now you're going to make adaptations based on what the market and opportunity exists.
Yeah, for sure. The second thing is to identify pivotal roles, and we define pivotal roles as if this role was left vacant for an extended period of time, does it interrupt or disrupt our strategic plans? If the answer is yes, then it's a pivotal role. If the answer is no, it's not.
Yep.
And I referenced when I left Defenders, we had 4,000 employees, and we only had about 75 pivotal roles.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, that 10% number, and that just labeling that. And one of the things you talked about in the last episode, I just want to make sure everybody picks up on, it's not just what you label today. It's labeled on the 2-year and the 5-year as you build that out. So you really are starting to see the pivotal roles because that's going to tell you where your investment's going to go.
Yeah, and just because you label something a pivotal role in year 2 doesn't mean it's a pivotal role in year 5 based on whatever the strategic plans are of the organization. So let's go to the next step.
Please.
And that's where, and we've talked about this, so we're not going to have to spend a lot of time on this, but you have to develop success profiles for all your pivotal roles.
I love it.
So success profiles, if you haven't heard the episode on this before, it's very important for all organizations or for all roles, but specifically pivotal roles. But the number one, we've talked about the Gallup Q12. The first question is, I know what's expected of me in my job. This defines that. So what are the 5 to 7 things you need me to do?
Yep.
Okay, most important things. Taking out the trash, unless you're the custodian, is probably not one of them. Okay, so that might be something you're doing, but it's not the most five to seven most important things.
Correct.
So what are those? How do you want me to do the job? Like what are the competencies that I have to master to do those 5 to 7 things?
Word mastery is critical.
Yep. And then the third thing is what are the 3 to 5 or even 1 to 3 measurements or outcomes you need out of that job?
Yep.
Real simple. Those 3 things. Usually you can fit it on one page.
Yep.
But it's clarity.
And I love that measurable point because that's a data point that's no longer what I feel. It's
Yeah.
what I can actually see.
So the reason why those are really important is if I identify that the chief revenue job is a pivotal role, I have to identify what are the 5 to 7 things, the way I want you to do your job and the outcomes, so that I know if I'm creating succession plans for that pivotal role,
Yep.
what do I need to develop in the person that might be in their succession
Correct.
plan? And if you haven't identified that, how do you know?
Yeah, because the challenges are going to stay. It's how much you're going to invest in the skill sets to make sure those challenges are met.
Yeah, yeah. Success profiles are a real thing. So have those in place for all roles, hopefully.
Pivotal roles are going to be critical.
Yeah, and hey, if you've got 100 people doing one particular job, you have 100 salespeople, that success profile for the most part is going to look the same, right?
So you might have an inside and outside, but other than that, it's going to be the same.
Yeah. Okay, next is then defining leadership levels. And I don't recall whether we've talked about this on any of our...
Let's see where we're at.
So really great book called Leadership Pipeline. It was put out by one of the authors was Ram Charan. And it's a real meaty book, and I just encourage people. You don't have to go read the whole book, but go and ask your AI
give me
guy,
a shorthand.
Give me a shorthand on it. But ultimately, it talks about how you develop leadership levels inside of an organization. So the way Leadership Pipeline does it is they have leading self is level 1.
Okay.
Leading others is level 2. Leading leaders is level 3.
Yep.
Leading function, so head of IT or head of sales or whatever, is level 4. And leading enterprise is level 5. Now, there's a few levels above that, but I don't know that they're all that germane to our audience. They're more like multinational corporations and things like that. So these are the 5 levels we typically teach our clients.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out what are the pathways in between each level that you have to develop people in as they go up. And so if I'm in a leading self position, but I'm a high potential type person, and we'll tell you how to identify that in a minute. If I'm a high potential type leader and I in someone's succession plan, how are you going to help me develop so that I can go from leading others to leading self to leading others?
Yeah, I've gone from an IC, now I'm going to lead a group. What am I going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. And as you think about each level, there are 3 things that you probably want to be taking into consideration. One is, and the thing that most people go towards is I need to develop someone's competencies in a certain thing.
Great, love them. I love that word.
Yeah. The second thing is that oftentimes isn't thought of is how do I need to teach the person to manage their calendar or their time? Because if all you've ever done is done the work and run yourself, and then you go into a leading others, does your calendar reflect that? Does it show that you're spending a lot of time with your people, or does it show that you're spending time producing work?
Correct. Right? Yeah. You're still in the individual contributor mode,
Yeah.
but in charge of other people. Your calendar will reflect that.
And the third thing is work values. So what do you value? And I know I've mentioned this before. Like, do you value going out and creating other LeBron Jameses, or do you value being LeBron James?
Yeah. You have to call that out.
Do you get just as excited standing in the back of the award celebration, seeing one of the people that you lead get the top salesperson award? Or are you kind of jealous of that because it's not you anymore?
Do you need to see your name in lights, or do you like seeing the people that you develop's name in lights?
And so work values, those things. So as you're thinking about the moving up the ladder from like level 1 to 2 or 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 is what are the competencies that have to be developed? What do we need to teach this person relative to time allocation? And thirdly is what do they need to learn from a work values perspective? And on the work values thing, sometimes that's not teachable. That's just who you are, and that's okay. Right?
That doesn't make you a bad person. It's just part of your unique ability.
Yeah. Before I encourage anybody to get into leadership, I have them read the book The Motive by Patrick Lencioni.
I've not read that.
And it really identifies a lot of this. If you read that book and it lights you up, then you should go into leadership. If it makes you stressed, then you probably shouldn't. So,
I love it. I love it.
So you define those leadership levels, okay? Any thoughts on
no,
that?
just I love that the levels are clear. And of course, I've said for most of our episodes, you're not a leader till you're a leader of leaders. And so leading self and leading others is that great, I'm learning how to be a leader. And then the moment you start leading leaders again, that's where you've really elevated that game up.
Yeah. Okay, next step is you're going to then conduct performance reviews, and you should have those in place minimally it kills me to even say this, but once a year.
Yeah.
But we really encourage you to be having performance conversations on a quarterly basis.
Correct.
And if you need to, from a compliance perspective or whatever, have that kind of final one at the end of the year that's a recap.
Correct.
But inside of 90 is a tool that a lot of EOS companies use.
Correct.
90 has a really, really great listing of different meetings that are available that you can do. And so a lot of this can really get the conversation's not automated, but the documentation of these things
documentation and it's a clear future date. It's on the calendar, and you know that you're going to have that quarterly conversation on the regular.
Yeah. One of the cool things about 90 is if you build out your organizational or your accountability chart in 90,
it'll
and you have your 5 to 7, it'll actually import that into the meeting that you're having.
It'll pull it over to it.
Yeah, which is a really cool
Which is amazing, because then you're having the conversation about mastery of those 5 to 7 and how the measurables are going.
Yeah.
Because that's what that conversation should be about, the mastery and the measurables.
Yeah, for sure. And but I want to take the performance conversation one step further.
Please.
And I think leaders need to then think about potential. So you could be really great at your job. Like you could be a rock star, the best one we have. But what's your potential in the future? Is your potential towards a leadership slant, or is your potential towards a specialist in the job that you do?
Correct.
And both are equally important to an organization. Like find me an organization of all leaders that has no, formal managers.
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone should show up as a leader, but formal managers, show me a company that only has managers.
You just find nothing's getting done.
Nothing's getting done, and they're managing nobody.
Yeah.
Right? So specialist track is always an important one too. How do I grow it? How do you grow as the best salesperson? Do I give you more strategic accounts?
Every team has a kicker.
Yeah, exactly. So really evaluating that on a pretty regular basis. And then once you've done that, then you do this exercise called a 9-box exercise, where you can really think about a football depth chart, where you're really placing everybody inside of the 9-box based on performance and potential.
Yeah.
And that really allows you to see who are what I call the high potential group, which gets put in box 1, 2, 4, and 5, and we can talk about that later.
We'll do a 9-box later.
But it's basically people that are killing it at their job and have the ability to grow in leadership.
And you're seeing it. It's not just a hope.
Yeah.
It's through observation.
Yeah, 100%. And the tools that we've put into place to work companies through, like a leader has to justify their decision both around performance and potential. And it's just not I think they could do this.
No.
It's here's evidence that's showing.
That's the word.
They don't have a leadership role yet, but I see them mentoring new people that come on board and having intentional conversations and holding people accountable and things like that.
Correct.
So,
Absolutely. You got to have the evidence is critical, and it's got to be documented. It can't just be to your point, not just gut feel. I trust guts, but I got to have enough evidence to support that.
Yeah.
Because I could hurt them if I don't do that right.
Yeah. And so, and then when you're doing that evaluation and you identify a person to be in one of those 4 boxes, then that's to bring this all full circle to that kind of pivotal role thing. You go back to the pivotal roles and you say, of these people that sit in these 4 boxes, these high potential boxes, where can I start plugging these people into for succession?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm hearing, I get nerdy. Remember the old overhead projectors? You lay out the accountability chart, then you lay out the pivotal chart on top of that, then you lay out that next level. You can start to see it really will map itself out, and next thing you know, you have that 3, 4, 5D view of what your future could look like.
Yeah. And as you're thinking about that, for each pivotal role, you should have an emergency successor, which means if Mike gets hit by a bus, if I get hit by a bus, who steps into my role in my companies? Chris Mills does. Yeah. Right. And for now.
It's all planned out, and you know how long that's going to last and what next steps are.
Right. Then you have successor number 1. And the way you get into successor number 1 bucket is you have to be identified to be able to be developed to take on that role within the next 1 to 2 years.
Yeah. It's got to have a time frame to it too. Love it.
Then you have a line called successor number 2. And that is the next person that would be in line, or potentially if the next person in line can't be developed for 3 to 5 years for that role, then they go into successor number 2, and successor number 1 is actually outside hire.
Yeah, understood.
And this is a great view for a leader to have.
It's easy for them to see it.
They're easy to see. Like, so if you've got 14 pivotal roles inside your company and 12 of them have to be filled by an outside hire, that's a problem.
I love what you're describing. Baseball minor league teams or football teams or even an orchestra, there's a chair 1, chair 2, chair 3, right? I see where the gap is, and this is what we need to do to get that gap filled. If I can't get that one filled, I can go to free agency and pick somebody up while I'm still working on number 2.
Yeah, 100%. And that sometimes is tough for the number 2 person to get.
It is.
But if you sit down with them and you clarify their future and say, hey, listen, I'm going to bring somebody in that's going to sit in this seat for the next 3 to 5 years and mentor you and get you ready, then usually that's something that's pretty receptive.
100%. And it's about them at that point.
Yeah. And then the final step is, now that we've identified what our pivotal roles are, the emergency successor, successor 1, successor 2, we then have to say, we have to go back to success profile. And we have to say, Josh, if you are in successor number 1 seat for the chief revenue officer job, I've got to look at the chief revenue officer job success profile and say, where are the areas you've got to develop to be able to be in that role in the next 1 to 2 years? And we co-create an individual development plan.
Thank you for saying co-create. Love it.
Co-create an individual development plan of how you're going to be in that role in the next 1 to 2 years. And then we're constantly checking in on it, like
Correct.
weekly, monthly, quarterly, to make sure that you're making the progress.
And yeah, I love it. And I'm going to even substitute the word plan with strategy. You got to put a strategy in place with a plan that goes over that, because what happens is I see you as that next future step, and I don't spend the time investing in it to get you ready for it, and then I throw you at it and you fail early, rather than I'm going to give you the opportunity to get there. It's the rookie quarterback. I'm going to use another sports analogy. Let's give them some reps before we actually put them in there.
Yeah. I think that's it. Or, the G League in basketball, right? Or the summer league that's going on right now. You've got to go and get the reps. You can't, the number 12 guy on the Pacer bench that never plays, other than in practice, they're not getting ready to be the sixth man. They're just really not.
No, they're a practice body at that point.
So I'll recap as we finish up this episode. I'll recap kind of these steps. And again, the importance on this is, if you're kicking and screaming around this business owner, which I get, because there's effort in this, it takes time.
Absolutely.
And when you're investing time, that costs you
distraction from getting revenue and distraction from product.
Yeah. But this increases the value of your business 100% of the time. Number 1, you've got to align future organizational charts with where your vision is for the organization.
See it without questions.
You have to identify your pivotal roles at each of those stages, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, whatever it is. What do you see your organization looking like?
Take the time to label those. Remember, we're labeling the roles, not the people at that point.
Yeah. And you can be flexible with this. Like 5 years ago, who knew AI would have such an impact that it's having today? And we can't even imagine the impact AI is going to have 5 years from now.
Correct.
So we've got to keep updating these. It's not something that you set it and forget it and you never look at it again.
Don't get dusty.
Number 3 is you're going to develop success profiles for all these pivotal roles, which that identifies 5 to 7 things I need you to do, how I want you to do it, and how I'm going to measure the behavior.
Very clear.
You're going to define your leadership levels, great resources, leadership pipeline, and to help you with
self, others, leader. Then you got the next 2 levels after that.
And then conduct performance reviews on a regular basis, both performance and potential. And this doesn't have to be a compliance type thing. It can be very developmental.
I love 3 informals and 1 formal a year is kind of my go-to.
Yeah. Then do your 9-box evaluation, where you're plotting all of your people in this 9-box, so that you can really identify who are your high potential people, which are really the ones that are doing well from a performance perspective that you think have potential for moving up in the organization.
One quick plug on there. You're not doing comparisons at that point. You're plugging in everybody individually.
Yes.
A lot of people try to compare with the 9-box. That's not what that tool is built for.
No, not at all. And so now you know where you need to prioritize, and then you plug the people that are hypos back into your pivotal role kind of depth chart to understand who your emergency successor is, your successor 1, successor 2. And it will identify gaps. And one of the things that's really difficult for small to medium-sized business owners is, it's difficult. If you got a chief revenue officer, it's difficult then to have 2 layers of succession for a role like that. It just really is. So if you can at least have 1 layer of succession, that's 1 layer.
Ideal. And then I'll quote my good friend Brian Neal, and what's your bench?
Yeah, exactly. Or even, there are people who know who they are that we've actually approached that we have not hired yet because we don't have the capacity to hire them yet, who know that we are watching them and thinking about them, would love for them to join us in the future as part of our succession.
Yeah. And keep that conversation going.
Yeah. And then finally, you've got to fully develop these people, you got to really identify where there are gaps to grow into that role and co-create an individual development.
Yeah. And then actually activate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just co-create and put it on paper and put it in the drawer.
Yeah.
It's, to your point, your quarterly checkups, your either weekly stand-ups, whatever it is, and just do quick check-ins.
Yeah, for sure. So 7 steps. It's not easy work. Takes some time, but it's so important. And the payoff is that your overall business is going to be worth a whole lot more.
Love every second of it.
Yeah, good. Thanks for listening. I feel like I've been
this
hogging the
awesome.
mic the past couple of weeks.
And my job was to be the business owner on this side and ask the questions opposite, so this was awesome.
Yeah, good deal.